Good evening, humans. Transdusk here, and tonight we're taking a look at the Halloween Kills Ultimate Michael Myers figure from NECA. I have not seen this particular entry in the Halloween franchise. However, I hear that evil dies tonight a lot. So yeah, NECA always kills it with the horror figures, and this is no exception. So let's take a look at it. Let's do this. Aesthetically speaking, this figure looks fantastic, and again, NECA always brings it with the horror figures, and there's just loads of detail to work with here, and they totally just brought it. So we look at the head sculpt initially, and just really well done. Lots of sculpting, lots of textures. The burnt side of the mask and the hair, really well done. There's kind of a nice separation here in the burnt side of the hair versus the kind of untouched. So that looks really good. What's probably not going to show up here is that there is eye sculpt within this head sculpt, and we'll get more into that into accessories because that's going to become more of a thing. But yeah, so definitely some tiny details in there. Then we get to the jumpsuit and just looks great. Again, we get some kind of dark charring here on the left arm. Unfortunately for me, it looks like the pocket flap here, which was a separate piece, is just not present. So that's a thing. But there is supposed to be a piece here. So this usually looks a little more seamless in case you happen to notice that. Look at the left hand, it's all bandaged up. We got some really nice red in there for the blood, which they've put pretty much the perfect level of gloss on to get that kind of wet look to it. So really well done overall. And just again, yeah, standard overalls. We've seen a lot of Michael Myers from NECA, and yeah, just that's excellent. Great folds and textures within the kind of woven nature of that. And then we get to the boots, and again, very nicely done. Sculpted on the bottoms as well, the exception of the kind of copyright info. So yeah, just a really, really cool looking figure. We get a great loadout of accessories, so of course let's jump right into it. And first of all, we get two different head portraits. And again, I'm gonna try to show this as best I can. My lighting is limited most of the time anyway, but the first one we have is with the left eye taken out. You can kind of see it under the mask. I actually didn't realize what the difference was between the two head sculpts until I took a closer look, because our other head sculpt is the more just kind of darkened out, so you can't see the eyes at all. So both are very effective. Both look kind of very, very similar. So this is really going to depend on your lighting for pictures and such to really bring that out. So definitely worth noting. Then we get the skull mask, a reference to Halloween 3. Really well done. You can see there's some grooves here. These are to place in one of the spare hands, and just want to take a minute to dwell on this one and just say, love the way they did the blood. It just looks excellent. They just put the right amount of gloss on it. It has the right amount of wear. It looks very real. So excellently done there. And that brings us into our alternate hands. We only have alternate left hands, once again with the wraps and the missing fingers. I get the zoom, there we go. So we just kind of have a relaxed hand here on the figure out of the box. It is also a form of relaxed hand. Just the fingers spread out a little bit more, as we saw earlier. And then finally we have the gripping left hand, which is for that mask. So as you can see, and the fingers are super pliable, so it's very easy to get it in there. Then we move on to weapons. It is Michael Myers. So, first off, the boring stuff. We got the baseball bat, just simple brown plastic, nice wood grain to it though. So that's really cool. Then we get a crowbar of sorts, really well sculpted here. Perfect shade of just silver. To bring that out, we get a little bit of that red on the end to simulate the blood. So this looks really, really good. And then, speaking of which, we get to the fluorescent light tube, and we get half of it. We got a little bit of that blood splatter on the end, as you can see, is hollow. And come to the other side, and we have the connector, that nice shade of silver we saw before, and the connectors are black. Then we get not one, but two different kitchen knives. We get one with a black handle, again, that nice silver. Not tainted at all. And then we get one with a light brown handle, and you can see some blood splatter on there, and a little bit of that kind of darkening in the blood, so it gives it a little bit of depth. So really, really nice. And that's accessories. Articulation here is definitely decent, if not a little limited, but we'll get into that. And, you know, honestly, it's Michael Myers. It's not like he's doing gymnastic routines. So, you know, it doesn't need to be crazy with the articulation. So first, for the head, we are on a ball joint. So we're looking down about that much. You can look up about that much, which is very nice. We get some absolutely fantastic tilt because of the way that joint works. So that is just absolutely wonderful. For the arms, we're coming up to about here. We're like not even hitting our teeth. That part is definitely a little sad. And that is true on both sides. And I mean, again, he's not doing gymnastics routines, but he should be at least come up a little bit more here. And I think that's just part of this overlay part of the jacket. And, you know, so that's hinge and swivel at the shoulders. We are actually double jointed at our elbows, bringing us to about here, which is not too bad at all. Definitely like very nice. Our hands are also on ball joints of sorts, so we can go any which way we want. There is a joint here under the overlay. It doesn't move too much, don't get too much rotation, so it's there, and you do get a little bit, which is nice, but is definitely hard to kind of get any sort of real movement out of that. So I'm not going to get too much there. Come down to the hips, and we get insane range. Get pretty much full splits, which again, you know, not necessary, but definitely appreciated, especially for getting the kick pose that I got earlier. Part of this whole mechanism, as is, you know, usually the case with NECA, we get a thigh swivel there. We are single jointed at the knees, so we're not quite hitting 90, so we're just getting to about there. Then we get to the feet, and again, because of the sculpt of the clothing, we're not really getting too much point, not getting any forward, we're just getting straight into neutral. And we do get some rocker, which is nice. So that is articulation. Getting in size comparisons, here he is with some other NECA horror figures, with some Hasbro and Mattel, with some imports, with some monsters, finally with an articulated Icons Oni, and yours truly in human form as an articulated Icons Ninja. So my final thoughts on the Halloween Kills Ultimate Michael Myers figure from NECA is that this is a super solid figure. As I have said a couple of different ways, a couple of different times in this video, that NECA and horror definitely go hand in hand. They're like peanut butter and jelly. Just, you know, they always do solid releases, and this is no different. So if you are a fan of Michael Myers, of the Halloween franchise and its many iterations, or, you know, just horror in general, absolutely worth taking a look at and possibly picking up. So yeah, this is currently on shelves in various Walmarts and Targets and whatever, and also on various online retailers. So I will include links in the description below to some of my favorite if you want to pick this up. So with that being said, I hope you found this review informative and somewhat entertaining. If you did, please consider liking, commenting, subscribing, and or sharing. If you want to take it to the next level and help me even more, I truly appreciate that, by the way. Ways to do that will be listed at the bottom of the description below. So please check those out. And with all of that being said, I hope you take care of yourself, take care of those around you, and most importantly, stay weird, simians.